Hello and welcome to SVT News. We are here in the studio today covering the election live as it happens. I'm here with my co-host Pirate, of course. Welcome back, Pirate. It's been quite a while. So before we get into the guests, and obviously we're speaking to the Conservatives leader soon. What do you think? What do you think the outcome of this election is going to be? I mean, judging on the polls we've had so far, what would you say the outcome would be in your opinion?
I think the Tories are back. Simple as that. There's literally nothing else to say. The Tories are... Well, we've seen from the polls that the Tories have been rising quite a bit. The last election, to seats, it wasn't so good, but now the Tories have rose so high since the return of the former cabinet and the new faces.
Definitely. And of course, welcome to all our viewers watching live special SVT broadcast. And we do thank the Electoral Commission. It was a very last minute arrangement, but we do thank them for their cooperation as we set this up for everyone to see on election night. We have posted a poll in our chat if you'd like to vote on that. We're just asking for our own sort of, it's our own sort of poll to get your opinions on what you think the outcome would be as the viewers. Now, Pirate, we're about to come to the Conservative leader and a member of the cabinet. It looks like the Conservatives have got this iron grip on this election. Do you think we'll see any sort of major increase or major differentiation between some of the smaller parties, for example, Labour or Co-op? I mean, we know from history, Labour's been around since, forever in the UK, and they sometimes do manage to creep up in numbers. So do you think we might see something similar this time?
I'm honestly not quite sure what's going to happen with the smaller parties, but it is most definitely going to be a fight amongst them instead of fighting with the big parties to see who can get the most seats.
Definitely. And we will now come to live our studio downstairs, where we do have the Conservative leader, Megaminer, and also Albert Branham, who has I can't really remember your position, but it seems to change every day or so I'm sure you can remind us of what that is. But welcome both of you to the studio. It's lovely to have you on. First question for you, Megaminer. Obviously, you've been in these shoes before. You've been Prime Minister before. It's looking quite good for the Conservatives in general. With your experience as Prime Minister, are you must be still nervous about these elections, right? I mean, you had a landslide before. Well, it wasn't not exactly a landslide, but you got a confident majority. So are you still a bit nervous by this election, even though it's going in your favour?
First of all, thank you for having me on the show. It's nice to be back again. But I think the nerves never really go away, no matter how many times you go through election cycles. In all my times in UK Nations, there's always a little bit of nervousness surrounding the results. Like, will the polls be right, and everything. So I think, yes, I am nervous about the results, but I think it's normal to be nervous. If I wasn't nervous, something would be wrong.
Definitely, yeah. That is a good point. Obviously, you've got some big plans for government if you do step into that role. Some similar things to what was before. Obviously, when you were Prime Minister, obviously some similar policies there. What would you say is your sort of main game changer? The biggest policy you're bringing in to sort of recover the UK after the Reform administration?
I think the main thing that we're coming in to government to do is to provide a policy agenda which is pragmatic, and it doesn't have an overriding ideology. We're here to implement common sense policies that make sense and work for the majority of people in the UK. I mean, the essence of conservatism is an ideology which isn't really an ideology. It's just you make the best decisions that you think will be the most practical for a situation. And that's what we're coming into government to do. So in terms of legal reform, we want to introduce a British Bill of Rights to entrench people's rights. We want to give greater powers of stop and search to the police. We want to crack down on gun crime. So we do have quite an ambitious legal agenda. But most importantly, we just want to open up the lines of communications between departments in the Home Office. And we just want to provide a strong and stable government for the people, and a government that the people can look up to, internationally and nationally.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Eddie, if I may, what is your opinions on the fact that former Prime Minister and Reform Party leader George Godsend has been yet again found interfering with the United Kingdom's elections?
I mean, I was appalled when I saw the screenshot of what the disgraced former prime minister, who will not be mentioned, was doing. There's been complete radio silence from the Liberal Party over this matter, and I don't want to point fingers or make assumptions, but I think it's quite suspicious that they haven't released a single statement on this issue, even though their leadership has been online at the moment, and they still haven't said anything. I just think it's disgraceful, and I thank the Electoral Commission for keeping such a keen eye out for any alter counts that have been voting, because it's very important that we have a representative democracy that represents the people's views, and I think it's facing a lot of threats. But yeah, thank you to the Electoral Commission.
Absolutely, absolutely. We really can't have outsiders interfering in our own elections. Out of one's own curiosity, who would you actually like to see in His Majesty's official opposition?
I would be happy to see the British Freedom Party as official opposition. I think they're a good party, but I would be happy to see the Liberal Party as the main opposition party, because one of the most important things in opposition is, I mean, the opposition exists to oppose the government, and I think the Liberal Party over this campaigning season have put up a good fight against us. And I think having a healthy opposition is very important to having a functioning democracy, because having opposition and having debate is very important in shaping policy. So I think the Liberal Party would be a good party to have in as the official opposition.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, last term in Parliament, we did see a lack of presence from the opposition. Do you think that's going to continue? Do you think we're going to see parties rise up in more activity and try and restore the beating heart of this country's democracy?
I think it's very possible that we could see an inactive opposition again. I mean, it's very hard to maintain activity when you're in opposition. I know that for a fact. It's just because there isn't a lot to do when you're in the shadow cabinet. Whereas if you're in the actual cabinet, of course, you have your entire job as well as being in Parliament. So I think we could see the opposition falling into inactivity, but I think if the leadership is good enough, they could be active, and I welcome having an active opposition. I think it's very important, as I said.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, Pirate, just got a catch on there. Obviously, thank you for your questions there. Back to what Pirate was asking, actually, and on that topic of the opposition. Obviously, we know quite notoriously that the opposition can be a very mixed bag in the UK. You can often have a fairly good opposition that does their job to a fair extent, and then you have the absolute polar opposite of just complete, incompetence, no attendance, no contribution. And personally, I'm sure you'd agree, Megamind, that no opposition in Parliament, it makes the whole functions of government just, I don't know, it feels like you have to have an opposition there, despite their effectiveness in doing their job. Having a second party sitting there and scrutinising everything you do and everything you say, I think it's healthy for democracy, but it also makes sure that, you're not doing anything that other people might perceive as wrong or, stupid in that sense. But would you agree that if we don't have... obviously, when the BNP government came in, of course, you and I was Prime Minister, and I do remember I did resign to let those special elections take place. Of course, after that, I remember a period of very, very little opposition existence, and obviously you tried to do quite a lot to really make sure that they were held accountable and that they would turn up. And we saw the same thing with Reform, really. So will you be doing anything in that regard? Will you be doing anything to ensure that the opposition will actually do their job, or do you think it's just best to leave it in their own hands?
I mean, I think there's only so much we can do, really. I mean, I've already spoken to the leader of the British Freedom Party, and we're going to be moving some sessions to make them more accessible for people in other time zones. So people in Australia and in New Zealand, because I know the British Freedom Party leader is from down under. So we're going to be helping out there in terms of activity. I think as well we're going to be hosting Parliament on more days, hopefully, because when I was in government in December, we had Parliament almost every day apart from Saturday and another day. Saturday and Sunday, I think, maybe. And right now it's only like 3 days a week, so we want to up that definitely. So we can have more opportunities to introduce legislation, more opportunities for debate, and more opportunities for the opposition to ask questions to our ministers. Because having parliamentary scrutiny and having checks and balances is very important on government, and if that's not available, then we can't really govern effectively.
Yeah, totally, I would agree. And you're right, it is completely imperative that some form of opposition it does exist to, as you say, make sure that you can govern effectively. Should you win this election, might I add. Obviously, it's looking quite close and, well, not close, but you know what I mean. It's very... I think we can assume, based on recent polls, what the outcome might be. Of course, things change, and we do have a representative from the Electoral Commission here. We've got Mycroft Levy. Mycroft, I know you can't tell us much, but in these circumstances, you've got quite a lot of experience in the legal background, and you've been around here long enough to know how these elections work. Could you tell us, in any form at all, are we going to see anything surprising tonight? Never mind, he's muted, so I guess that question moves on to Eddie. Would you like to answer that for him?
I mean, I think there might be. So, I mean, I hope there aren't any surprises tonight, because quite frankly, the polls have been very favourable to me and my party. So I hope there aren't any surprises. But I've seen elections go south before. I've seen the polls predict something, and then the actual election results be another thing.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely happened, but I'm keeping my hopes up for it.
Definitely. Yeah, sorry that we just stared into space there for like 30 seconds. I didn't even realise Mycroft was muted. But thank you for stepping in. We're going to come to you.
I'm here.
Oh, you are here. It's all right.
here.
Eddie has asked the question. We'll get to you in a minute. And thank you for being here, by the way. And representing the Electoral Commission, of course.
Thank you.
Albert, you've been here in the UK on and off for quite a while. You've got quite a lot of experience in the political background. Could you tell us exactly what your role will be in this Conservative, if there is a Conservative government? What would your role be?
Well, if we get elected, I won't be serving in a major role, but I'll be serving as a Leader of the House if we are in government, and First Secretary of State. So I've served in that role before. I had my ups and downs in that office last time, but I think any faults I did have, I've learnt from them, and I'm ready to serve again in that position.
That's good to hear. And of course, the roles of Leader of the House are to ensure that Parliament, can function correctly, function effectively, support government, and all that stuff. Like I asked Eddie, your opinion on the whole opposition thing. Is there anything you'd like to see or that you'd implement specifically to ensure that an opposition can be held to account if they don't do their job?
Well, to be honest, opposition's only fun when the government's crap. Excuse my language. So I hope this government's not going to be bad. I can tell you that. I think opposition, if you're elected to opposition, it can be fun sometimes. Like, questioning the government can be all right. Like, debates are fun. Like, especially if the government clearly does something wrong, and there will be mistakes. Obviously, there'll be mistakes. I think. Opposition quite a mixed thing to deal with, because there's only so many at-everyones you can do in a Discord server to get people on. People just can't be bothered, and I think that's a problem really for the parties and the Electoral Commission to sort out themselves, not really myself. All I can do is just make the debates good, not only for the opposition, for the government and the opposition, so they have their chance to scrutinise, and also give opposition days if they are active, because I feel like if they prove themselves an active opposition, effective opposition, they should be given opposition days on the order paper, so then they can put their own debates in, their own twists and turns to whatever they want to do.
Definitely. Thank you very much. We'll come back to you and Mega Miner shortly. We also got the deputy party leader of the Liberal Party here with us in the studio, Jake Truss. Jake, thank you for joining us. It's quite an interesting election, of course. The aftermath.
I'm not
of
liberal.
the reform part. Oh, sorry, I said co-op. Did I not say? Did I not say co-op? I'm pretty sure I said.
No,
co-op.
no, you said liberal.
Oh, sorry, I meant cooperative party. Thank you for being here. Yeah, it is an interesting election, of course, after the whole reform party incident. In terms of your polls, it's not looking as bright as it could be. What are you hoping to get out of this election?
We're hoping to. We're not really. We've just gained new leadership since yesterday, so our priority right now at the moment is just sorting out the party at the moment. It's been left in shambles from Baldy, and I don't mean any disrespect to him, but he wasn't the most active party leader to get us through these elections while he was in, and we've been left with just one day left of any campaigning, so it left us really no time. But we're hoping to at least try and get on those opposition benches to help scrutinise and actively be in opposition, because from some of the last parliamentary terms we've seen oppositions who barely even turn up. I mean, when people don't get into government, they do sort of pick the cradle out and don't turn up, because that is what some people will think. I won't name any parties, but yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. You are completely right there. And as I was asking Mega Miner and Albert earlier about the opposition problem that we do have, and of course many UKs on this platform have. You said you want to make sure that you're committed to your role in Parliament as an opposition, of course. Depending on how many seats you get, that could limit you and the Cooperative Party's ability to do that. Is this more of a build-up to a next election, or are you still hanging on tight to any hope of a coalition or anything like that? Or is this simply more of a you're going to try and get what you can and represent the British people from the backbenches?
We're going to try and get what we can, really, and I think we're going to save it to next election. And I think once we have this whole month now to get ready for the next election. Oh, and the deputy leader of the Libs is now here. But yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you very much, the deputy leader of the Cooperative Party, for you. Thank you for coming on, and we'll hear from you as well soon. So we've covered a few of the party leaders. We'll be coming to the deputy leader of the Liberal Party very soon. The actual Liberty Party. Oh God, I went a bit Irish there. The actual Liberty Party, not Jake, who I accidentally labelled as Liberty Party, but we'll ignore that. Looking at the recent polls, of course, we will have those official exit poll results out for you shortly, which we'll update you with. We can expect the official election results coming out within around 20 to 30 minutes. We don't have a precise time on that, but I'm sure we'll get... 10 minutes. There we go, 10 minutes.
I've got them already.
Lovely. So we will have those results for you in just about 10 minutes, and so it's really heating up now. Obviously, the exit polls will probably represent, as we can expect, the polls we've seen in news. Obviously, the data we're using here is based off of some mixed pieces of data from news and, of course, SVT's own polls. Before we get back to you, Pirate and Albert, of course, we've got the deputy leader for the Liberal Party. I think he's in here, isn't he? Yes, he is. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, we just heard from the cooperative deputy leader. They're sticking to the backbenches. They're playing it strategically. You've got a little bit of an edge over them. I mean, in the polls we've conducted and from research that we've done, you're looking at about 20% of the vote. Of course, we'll have an exit poll and the official results to confirm that soon. What can you tell us? What plans do you have when this election ends tonight? No, we've got another ghost speaker. Brilliant.
I get the feeling that he might not be in the group chat.
Is he not?
I don't think someone added him.
Right, brilliant. Well, that was a lovely piece of talking to myself. We've got the results in 10. Isn't this just typical, right? The one night that we get the election nights is probably the most shambolic SVT news live. To be in our defence, we did get about 15 minutes to prepare for this, so you can't really blame me.
Yeah.
But we're making the most. Mycroft, you are still here with us, I assume. You haven't vanished.
Yeah,
into
I'm here.
space. Perfect.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank God for that.
I was counting votes before. That's why I had to.
Oh, right. Okay. That's
I
fine.
couldn't think.
Just don't make me speak to no one for the third time. That'll be.
I'm here. I'm here. No worries.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Of course, representing the Electoral Commission. I did sort of forward your question to Eddie, but I'd like to get your opinion on it as well. This is an important election, probably one of the most important elections after the reformed government. Are we going to see anything, as much as you can tell us, are we going to see anything out of the ordinary tonight? Do you think we'll get any surprises from some of the smaller parties?
Surprises? I wouldn't think so, no. I think it's kind of just a very straightforward one.
Okay.
It seems to be quite a straightforward election, to be honest.
So we wouldn't expect any of the smaller parties to get a surprise extra, 10% as they sometimes do. I mean, Reform's typical and notorious for that. So maybe we could see some sort of repeat of that. Maybe not. Obviously, we've had a lot of elections before that have been very close to predictions. Of course, I remember the British National Party election. That was estimated pretty much exactly how the results came out, with that 68%, I think it was, majority. Obviously, we're not going to see anything like that. Would you agree, Mycroft? I don't think we're going to get a super majority of any kind tonight.
You won't be getting a super majority, no.
We could.
You won't be getting a super majority. No.
That is good confirmation. That means that the polls are just about right. Thank you very much, Michael.
I can say that the polls are quite accurate.
Oh, they are. There we are. We have
they are quite accurate.
We have it from himself, the Electoral Commissioner. The polls are pretty accurate, so you can base your opinions on that. Thank you very much. We'll catch with you in a minute when we have those official results. Coming back to Megaminer now, just quickly before we go to the Liberal Deputy Leader. The question I just asked there to the Electoral Commissioner. Obviously, you were there when that BNP supermajority happened. We're not going to see anything like that tonight, as he said. Is that a concern for you, or are you confident you'll get enough of a majority to pass through this election?
I'm not worried. I mean, my last government in December, we had about a 2 or 3 seat majority, and we were still a very well-functioning government. I mean, there hasn't been a government in the last 4 months that has ruled with a majority that hasn't been in a coalition. I hope this will be a majority government for my party, because majority governments are just more stable than coalitions. But I think with or without one, I think we will still be able to govern effectively, just because I am open for coalitions with some parties.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, we're not bidding on a supermajority here, as you said, and you are open for coalitions with other parties. Who are you looking for? Could you tell us if you've got any potential candidates, do you think, right now, just based on the poll results, not the official results, of course, who are you sort of eyeing up to join up? Obviously, you're going to be looking for someone that sort of conforms and agrees with your party on a lot of things. So do you have anyone in mind at the moment?
I think potentially the British Freedom Party. I've been in discussions. As well, the Cooperative Party. I mean, there's not a lot of right-wing parties that share our policies, so we're kind of having to, branch out a little bit. But I think we're open for coalitions with most parties. We'll just have to see how it goes.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Megaminer. And now we do, in fact, come to the Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party. Welcome to the SVT News. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? How's everyone there?
very good, thank you very much. So, what do you think of the polls so far? They're obviously not looking very much in favour of the Liberal Party, as it has been a significant decrease since the previous election and the rebrand, in fact, to the Liberal Party. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, well, I don't feel too bad. Obviously, it was an expectation. We tried our best. We know that we have to gain back the trust of the public. The stuff that our previous prime minister had done really left a bad mark on us. So we're gonna try our best. We're gonna try our best.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Can I ask, why did the party actually rebrand itself to the Liberal Party? What was wrong with the Reform Party?
I think myself and the party leader, we didn't really like the idea of a reform party, because obviously this country, not everything is in the government's control. People will still be out there. We can't really change every single aspect of the country. I think we rebranded it because we want a fresh start. If you get what I mean, we don't want to be known as the people who messed up the country. We don't want to be known as I don't know what word to use, the assassins or something like that. We just want a good reputation. We want to build back the trust, and we want to do the country good.
Yeah, I see. That is absolutely reasonable. So with obviously new leadership, there has been a massive change of tone coming from the Liberal Party, actually, with ideas for the civil service, which is actually rather intrigues me, because from what I've seen, there's been, I don't want to say complaints, but along those lines, to do with civil service appointments and how they're supposedly undemocratic. What do you personally think of this? Do you think the civil service is democratic and should be somewhat democratized?
Well, I think this country overall should be very democratic. I don't really see any issues with the civil service being democratic. It's personally something that I would want, because I want everyone to have an opinion. I want everyone to have a say in what will be done. I don't want just like a few couple people deciding what will be done. I want everyone to make a decision, if you know what I mean.
But who would it be, in your view, supposedly, if we democratize the civil service, who would be the ones electing them to say into their positions?
Well, that's a very difficult question to answer at this time. For me, myself, because I would need to talk with Edward more, of the party leader, more with that. But I think it could either be up to the people, or it could be up to the parliament. There could be bills introduced and stuff like that.
Well, for me, the civil service it's not there to be political, it's not there to be democratic per se. It's there to deliver the government's policies, it's there to help the government, no matter who's in power. That's why it's impartial, that's why it's apolitical. So, it's really confusing to me as to why a democratization of it would be even necessary, because it's already doing its job perfectly fine. Like, why exactly do you see it necessary to change up the civil service when their jobs are permanent, to make them need to worry about potential re-election or somewhat? Because that is, in my view, that is the exact opposite of democratizing it. That could result in it becoming more political and more, worrying more about themselves and their re-election over what they're meant to be doing.
So, well, that was personally my opinion, but what we will be doing, we'll ensure that the British public are in charge of making the civil service, that will be under the British public. We'll make sure that they're in charge of voting for the big decision makers. Per our campaign, as we've said that. I don't have any further opinion at this time about that. Yeah, that's my answer.
Perfect. Thank you very much. The Deputy Leader for the Liberal Party will come back to you shortly. Just a quick update. We will have the election results in just about 7 or 8 minutes, and we'll have those on the screen for you. Oh, 3 minutes. There we are. I'm
just writing out the document.
There we are. We're waiting for the.
I'm just writing the document.
And once that comes out, we'll have that on screen for you. And of course, we'll be going over those results as they come out. We'll come back to you, Albert. Obviously, you will be the candidate for Leader of the House. Yeah, I'm sure you're happy to be answering some more questions. Let's just take it off the interview road at the moment. Let's just try and make this a bit more of an open discussion. Important election, you'd agree. You're back again under the Conservative Party. Do you have any concerns this time about the DAA at all? Of course, that was a bit of a problem last time. You got any of the similar concerns?
Well, let's first of all, on reflection, we've just come back into government. First of all, what a comeback this is. We rejoin, we see how much of a state this is. By chance, there's a leadership election on the day we come back. So, of course, we're all very happy about that. We enter, we win. And then we do a beautiful campaign. And we've got back into government, which shows the people, at the end of the day, people did as in government, and we got kicked out justly, I'd say. But times have changed. I think I hold no grudges with the DAA. I don't think anyone in the party holds any grudges with the DAA. We may have disagreed with some things at that time, but I feel like we learnt a lesson. I think, well, considering there's been like 5 coups since then, something like that, mad number. It happens to everyone, and we had our daily dose of coup. So I feel like if we get into government, we will work with the DAA because we believe that they are, as they put it in their answer thing, inevitable or something like that. So
that is a fair response.
So
And I'm sure the Conservatives aforementioned that do not have grudges. I'm sure they just haven't been banned and silenced. We'll just pretend that. No, I'm joking. I'm only joking. But yeah, that's an interesting point.
Never going to get everywhere if we fight with them. We might as well just we need to work with them. And I feel Zeus knows that. It would be bad. We'd just be dumb if we just came into them and like, yeah, we're gonna take them all out. Like that's not gonna happen. That's just realistic. We need to work with them.
That is a very good point, and of course, it's the greatest thing to be able to be out of the Protectorate. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, that's one of the biggest joys.
It's more realistic. I mean, it's more realistic if we're out Protectorate, so that works.
Yeah, I haven't really understood the whole Protectorate thing. I think the fact that the Lord Protectorate is appointed by the king, but then the king still has the power to do stuff, except he doesn't. So, how does that all slot in?
It's mad. But the thing that confuses me most about it is the fact that it's supposedly an act of parliament, to which said act of parliament has not been passed by parliament.
Yeah, it's quite confusing. I mean, to be honest,
you learned nothing from the answer on the question.
I don't think anyone's learned anything from that. Let's be honest. I think people read about 3 sentences of the DAA communications and then just get bored of reading. So like lengthy paragraphs about the smallest thing. But that's just me.
At this point in time, that's just how the cookie crumbles, isn't it? So,
that is how the cookie crumbles, exactly. Albert, I'm also wanting to get your opinion on the British Reform Party. Obviously, we touched on that a little bit. Under a bit of controversy. Haven't really heard from them. What's going on, do you think?
The Reform Party, did you say? Well, I mean, George Godson's a disgraced PM, but is trying to help the Liberals. The Liberals, they're putting on a small. It's like they're putting on a small bandage to cover up the things they did in government, which are all bad things. And I think seeing these polls, the British people saw sense and saw what the Liberal Party is. They saw them as basically a copy of Reform, and seeing George post that, go vote for the Liberals, please. It's just a bit suspicious what the Liberals could have done if they. Well, we don't know the election results yet, but I feel like it's just a puppet party.
What were you going to say, Pirate?
Go on,
Sorry.
Pirate.
It's not suspicious whatsoever. It's insane.
It is. It is
Well,
insane.
I apologise. It's insane.
Withdraw. Withdraw
Oh,
immediately.
sure.
Yeah.
I think you
to
should
be
ask the
honest,
levelling up secretary some questions.
it feels like the ghost of George Godson is going to haunt the UK for quite a while.
Oh, good
I think
God!
it's gonna
please
be one of those situations where he just cannot let go of the group, and he'll just be around in like multiple forms for like months on end. It's gonna be like a virus you can't eradicate. It's gonna. I think it just comes to a point, really. I mean, the whole reform thing. Not that I'm gonna say if you voted reform, you're a terrible person. I mean, you can make that decision for yourself. But reform have been trying about 6 or 7 times since they started, and they lost, and they lost, and they lost, and they lost, and somehow they kept getting members in despite literally no one in the actual ZUK community shedding a single tear of support for them. And then eventually, of course, they did wiggle their way in, and it was an absolute disaster. So I think
They didn't
ZUK
even
is
win the election. They just got in because of the King's speech, didn't they? So they didn't even win.
exactly. They didn't even
lost
win
the
the. Yeah, exactly. And I'm pretty sure he made a big thing about the fact that he won an election. Really, really good.
Yeah.
But I think the UK has learnt its lesson from that, and hopefully that will shape politics a little bit better. Because people will just have to ignore the people that scream and shout the loudest, and it's actually the people that are good and have good things in mind that will win. And of course, hopefully everyone in this room and everyone representing and participating in this election has that same mindset. Now, Mega Miner, it is looking in your favour. If it does turn out to be a victory for you, how are you going to celebrate?
With a good night's sleep,
I
quite
don't.
frankly.
I was about to say that it is way past my bedtime. No, it really,
I
I
mean-
think... I don't know why we do these elections so late, if I'm honest with you. It really...
Yeah, I mean, I'm a man who appreciates a good 8 or 9 hours of sleep as well. So, you know, I'm going to be heading straight to bed after I see these results and doing everything tomorrow. But I think there's a lot to look forward to in the next 2 days. Of course, we have the coronation,
Definitely, yeah.
which I may or may not be taking part in the Grenadier Guards. Depends if I get elected or not.
Wow,
I have a
interesting.
replacement if I become Prime Minister. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to in the next few days, but yeah, definitely a good night's kip.
Yeah, of course, and of course we'll be covering the coronation this weekend on SVT Live, the only place that you can watch stuff and not think it's a load of batshit. We just heard as well, Mega Miner, I'll get your opinion. The Metropolitan Police Commissioner had a bit of an oopsie and has been removed for bringing in their girlfriend and giving them a position. Now, I think the biggest mystery in this is how the Lego Commissioner got a girlfriend, but I think we'll skip that.
Oh, good God!
But,
Order.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mega Violet, what do you think? The Lord Protector said he wanted to appoint someone, but the second he lays down his power, it's going to be down to you. I don't know if they're going to do that before or what's going to happen. Yeah, what's your take on that?
I mean, I can see in government announcements, Mr. Random _ user has been appointed as a commissioner of the Metropolitan Police. So it looks like they've done our job for us.
Oh,
basically,
right,
which-
some random person. Cool.
But I
yeah.
mean, nepotism and incompetence, as Sue said, it will not be tolerated by my administration should we get elected, and we will be monitoring what's going on in the Met very carefully.
Definitely, and it seems like that new commissioner is actually a wavering citizen of North Korea, so, you know, chew on that, conspiracy theorists. We're going to get the election results very, very shortly from Mycroft. I'm sure he'll keep telling us 2 minutes every 2 minutes, but I will assume we get them very, very soon.
2 minutes.
Yeah, there we go.
Two
Another 2 minutes warning. Obviously, thank you for everyone that's participated in this poll. 48 votes, so pretty nice bit of data to go on. Of course, taking a look, we've got 17% in favour for a Liberal Party win. That's quite interesting. 69% favour for a Conservative win. That is a lovely statistic there. And then an 8% for BFP, 6% for Labour, and I may or may not have forgot to put the other party there. sorry.
Uh-oh.
I don't know who that was. Who did I forget? Cooperative. Just pretend people voted cooperative. Just pretend. You can use your imagination for that. Yes, we will be getting the results shortly. So I'll come back to you both, Mega Miner and Al, but it's going to end soon. We're going to be able to sleep, but you're going to wake up, hopefully, potentially, might I add, I'm very apolitical, in the position of Prime Minister for, what is it, third time? Second time? Which is
Third
it?
time.
Third
time's the
there
charm.
we go. There we go. Third time, and how many medals have you got?
No.
No. Well, that just says something, doesn't it? To be honest, the only reason I've got any commendations is for like running a sketchy bank for like 2 months. You don't really get recognised for politics.
I mean, medals to me don't mean a lot. I mean, what's important is that I have the approval of the British people to be in government. I mean,
yeah.
medals are nice. They're nice silverware, you know. But
They
like
are.
at the end of the day, it's not what being in government is about. And if you are in government, just to collect a nice shiny rack of medals, and
But there
that's
you
wrong.
are. That's the difference between you and me, Mega Miner. You want the approval of the people. I want.
But
the
I am a
approval
bit
the
jealous of your
medals.
knighthood, I have to say.
You have. I do try and flaunt it in every way possible. You'll notice in every Discord, I've just put the full title there for everyone to see. If you've got them, why not show them off? Yeah. Could you talk us through some actions?
I'm ready whenever you want.
Oh, Mycroft, you do have the results for us. Perfect.
I do.
He does. Lovely.
I do.
He will be sending that over to SVT headquarters, aka my DMs, so we can get a lovely graphic for you on screen when those do come out. So you can expect.
All right.
You can expect the results imminently. Pyro,
In 2 minutes.
I'll let you wrap up while we set that up.
Oz, yeah.
Go
Oz,
ahead.
don't share them. Don't share it yet. Let me announce it when I announce it.
Yeah,
There you
don't
go.
worry. I'll sync it up, Mycroft. I'm good at that. Pyro, if you want to wrap it up a little bit, ask a few questions for the Conservative leaders while we do set that up. And of course, thank you everyone else who's been waiting patiently in the studio. We will get back to you, I promise. We're not just going to sideline you as much as it seems like we are. So yeah, take it away.
Well, God knows what honours he got for running a sketchy bank anyway.
Anyway.
So, we also have here, who hasn't actually spoken yet, the Conservative Party's candidate for Levelling Up Secretary.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Now, Mr. 4K DVN, what is your opinion on... In fact, no. How would you describe levelling up to the British people?
I describe leveling up as a door. Okay, a door that you can twist open, and then have continuous opportunities that you can, or just at your disposal. Really, you got a bit of this, bit of that, and you can just take a department from here. Imagine my hand here, and then it goes all the way up here. Really, leveling
Right, I
up is a staple of the Conservative Party, in my opinion.
See. Well, that's really interesting, going from here all the way up to
Yeah,
here.
no, I'd say more like if I like up here, I reckon.
Oh, right. Oh, even further up there.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's quite mad.
I think the
can't-
interesting bit about this example you're trying to give us is that no one can see how high you're putting your hand up. So it's just
I'll
like
stand on my bed if that. Hang on. If I. Oh my god, I'm gonna fall.
yeah, I
Going
think
higher than Adam's amount of honours. Good God, he's doing it, isn't he?
Oh my god.
You can hear it.
No, it's kind of up here. I'm touching my ceiling, right?
Right,
Yeah,
that's
This man off the air right now.
all the way up here.
Right, I see. Well, that is pretty high. That is leveling up pretty. That's some big ambitions. Those
I
are
would
very,
punch.
very.
I would punch my way to the ceiling if I could. It would really show how much leveling up is.
It's
to
big
the
ambitions.
nation, really.
So, how are you going to level up then?
Just like last time, without swearing in Parliament, I will, of course, put my focus and my resources into. I'll come back now. Into departments every week on a rotation, just like last time, so we can really enhance and focus. on every department throughout the entire term to ensure we can deliver on our campaign promises that we made to the electorate over the past few weeks.
Do you have any
Perfect.
ideas on...
Thank you. Sorry, Pirate, I've got to interrupt you there because we
shocking.
have the results for you, ladies and gentlemen, live in the studio.
Live in the studio.
Live in the studio, not just live. Right, we are waiting on Mycroft to release those officially.
All right.
There'll be a split second of SVT priority hit. No, there won't be, but
It'll be 2 minutes. It'll be 2 minutes, guys.
to make
Don't worry.
up for it, we've got a nice graphic, so I guess that speaks volumes, really.
Yeah, alright.
I did
Here we
make
go
this
then.
very hastily.
So, Electoral Commission, April general elections, 26th of April 2022. I can officially say that it is a hung parliament, with the seats being as follows. The Cooperative Party, 5 seats. The Labour Party, 5 seats. The Conservative and Unionist Party, 18 seats. The British Freedom Party, 4 seats. And the Liberal Party, 9 seats. So we have a hung parliament with the Conservative and Unionist parties being the biggest party with 18 seats. I shall officially post that now. And there you go.
There we have it. Thank
Well
you
done.
very much, Mycroft, for that. As you can see, we've got it on the
No
screen
worries.
for you now. Lovely bit of graphic that I did in 5 minutes, so really appreciate it. 18 seats for the Conservatives. Mega Miner, what have you got to say about that?
Obviously, I'm disappointed that it's not a majority for my party, but I can definitely see a coalition being formed. So I'm feeling hopeful for what's coming forward, and I just want to thank everyone who voted, not just for my party, but voted overall, because democracies are very important in our nation, and I think anyone who voted in this election, they've done their civic duty, and I just want to thank them for that.
Perfect, thank you. I just want to point out, I'm pretty sure we have an odd amount of seats. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. I'm just trying
Yeah, it's
to add
41.
41 seats.
40
We're
for
adding
the-
up 41.
Okay, so it definitely is 41. Thank you, just to
Yes,
confirm.
yes.
So that is a majority of 21 that Conservatives would need. Of course, 3 short there on a majority. The Cooperative, British Freedom and New Labour all sharing a fairly small amount of seats. I mean, it's pretty split between the other parties. The Liberal Party bagging 9 seats, which is about what we'd expect from those polls. Of course, British Freedom absolutely tanked in comparison to the polls, as you can see from the bottom there. The latest polls predicted a 22% stake in these seats. 4 seats is all they got, and I'm assuming, or I wouldn't assume, that's definitely down to the recent controversy. Mega Miner, what is going to be your action going forward? Of course, it's going to have to be a coalition government, so what kind of things are you looking into at the moment?
I think my main people of interest right now are the British Freedom Party. We're looking for them, but I mean, I will keep my prospects open for who we're going to go into coalition with, but I'm most hopeful that I'll be able to form a coalition with the BFP.
So, can I get that correct? Just about 10 minutes ago, we were discussing how would I describe it? The questionable acts of the British Freedom Party. Are the Conservatives now looking to align themselves with the British Freedom Party?
I mean, they're under new leadership and everything, but I mean, as I said, we're keeping our options open moving forward.
Yeah.
It could go anyway, but we would. I can say that, yeah, we are looking at all possible options before we form a coalition.
There we are. Congratulations also, if you do form that, we'd assume you do form that coalition government. It's another Conservative win, more or less. I think the interesting pattern with these Conservative victories is that you can come out of nowhere a week or 2 weeks before an election and you can snag, basically a majority in that short period of time. Of course, the Cooperative Party been around for ages. New Labour been around for God knows how long, right? And they always seem to struggle. But it seems like the second you come in, you're getting those numbers straight up. Could you let us into the secret as to how you do it?
I think it's just providing a common sense leadership and cabinet for the people, because we are all the members of my cabinet and myself, we're experiencing government, and we're coming in and we're not offering confusion like other parties. We're not offering contradiction. What we're offering is a plan for Britain, and obviously the people favour those parties that come in here with a strong voice, a strong image, and a strong campaign for government, and that is what we're providing.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the opposition, as we've seen, is very divided. Do you think that's going to have an impact on activity within the opposition?
I mean, potentially. I mean, there isn't a, like, if we look at the results here, I mean, there's a lot of opposition parties. Obviously, the Liberal Party will be official opposition, but there's a few opposition parties which I think might lead to disunity within the opposition. I think a lot of them are ideologically like match up. So the Labour Party and the Liberal Party kind of similar. Like Liberal Party's kind of like centre, Labour Party centre left. So I think we could see a degree of unity, but I think it will be quite fractured.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, it has been an interesting past few weeks. I think we're all relieved that we're out of that reform government and straight into something fresh. I did ask you a little bit, or I did touch on this a little bit, but just finally before we wrap up tonight, what are your plans going to be for these first few important days? Obviously, including after and before the King's Speech.
I think, yeah, getting the King's Speech written is very important. Getting everyone settled into their cabinet positions, and until we can get our King's Speech passed, obviously there's not going to be a lot of major policy. But I think it's just going to be focusing on getting the King's Speech written, focusing on getting our MPs into Parliament and active, and focusing on just establishing the foundations for the government that will come in the next few weeks.
Perfect. Thank you, Mega Miner, and thank you to all our guests. Of course, the Deputy Liberal Leader, the Deputy Cooperative Leader, Levelling Up Secretary, and the Leader of the House. Thank you, everyone. And also, Mycroft, thank you for joining us as representative of the Electoral Commission. And of course, Pirate, as usual, thank you for co-hosting. This was SVT News Live. We'll be back next week with a coverage of the coronation, and so that'll be our next stream. And of course, you can catch this full broadcast and all the rest of our content on our YouTube channel to watch at any time. So we will see you then. Good night.